Hi everyone, Rosemary Hobson back again to help you take full control of your life by what you choose to put at the end of your fork. So let's get into it. You are part of an experiment, a global experiment. Did you know that? You're one of 1.6 billion people around the globe in 70 countries that are undergoing this experiment. It's daylight savings time.
I could also speak about your cardiovascular system, though, and all it takes is 1 hour, because there is a global experiment that's performed on 1.6 billion people across 70 countries twice a year, and it's called daylight savings time. In the spring, when we lose an hour of sleep, we see a subsequent 24% increase in heart attacks. In the fall, in the autumn, when we gain an hour of sleep, there's a 21% decrease in heart attacks. So it's bidirectional. That's how fragile and vulnerable your body is to even just the smallest perturbation of sleep.
1 hour.
1 hour.
You're blowing my mind.
What does that mean to you, and why is it an experiment? It's an experiment because it's changing how our bodies react to daylight. More people are being affected by the change in the sleep cycle and the change in the daylight hours that come with daylight savings time. So in the spring, statistics show that there's a 24% increase in heart attacks.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sean Stewart, one of the interventionists at Norton Healthcare. As you know, the time change is rapidly approaching, and it's interesting to note that there's clearly an increased risk of cardiovascular events associated with the time change. These events likely occur because of disruptions in our circadian rhythm. There are a few things that you can do to help minimize the change's effects on your body. Number one, you should try to prioritize sleep. Make sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep of night. Also, make sure that any changes you make to your sleep pattern are gradual, making 15 to 30 minute adjustments in the time before you go to bed and the time that you get up. Finally, it's also important to make sure that you maintain healthy habits, particularly eating well and exercising routinely. And those of you with cardiovascular conditions should consult with your provider about any additional changes that may be necessary for you.
Just from shifting our daylight time forward 1 hour. So we're losing 1 hour, and that's increasing the rate of heart attacks in the North American region. Now that's very important because when we look at the fall in autumn, when the clock goes back to return to its previous time before daylight savings times, we're noticing that there is a 21% decrease in heart attacks. Now, what does that mean for people who are melanated in North America, and specifically in the United States? People of African descent are having issues when it comes to 4 preventable chronic illnesses. That's high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and overweight and obesity. Black people are at the bottom of the list when it looks at how well people are living. And there's a correlation between changing the sleep cycle based on daylight savings time and what these outcomes are for preventable chronic illnesses. Without enough sleep, it's affecting blood pressure. Your blood pressure is going to be raised if you're not getting adequate sleep. Your depression and anxiety is going to be increased without enough sleep. And also, we're looking at how people are developing and are becoming more susceptible to type 2 diabetes, weight gain, and high cholesterol if they're not getting adequate sleep. Now, in this day and age of the matrix and the work hustle, and just working all the time, if you're in a 9 to 5, we're looking at people who are severely sleep deprived and what effect that's having on the Black community and Black populations in the United States. We need to really look at how we're sleeping because it goes beyond just having the things that make the world go around when it comes to our possessions. If we're not looking after the main possession that we have, which is our body, then we are setting ourselves up for preventable chronic illnesses and the outcomes of those illnesses. So if it's type 2 diabetes, we're looking at going on insulin, having neuropathy, having amputations, men not being able to have erections anymore because of their poor blood flow. Same thing for men who are on high blood pressure medications. They're also looking at diminished ability to have erections because of poor blood flow. And all of this, if we go back to how daylight and daylight savings time is affecting our sleep, and if we look at how sensitive our bodies are to a change in the amount of daylight that we experience and how that affects our sleep, our well-being, our mental health, and our ability to stave off issues and chronic illnesses like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and even to control our weight. A lot is to be said about getting the adequate amount of sleep. And when you are a part of this 1.6 billion people experiment that's been happening in 70 countries of daylight savings time, you're going to not reap the benefits of just having sunshine on your day. You're going to not be able to reap the benefits because you're losing an hour of sleep. And if you look at the statistics, the amount of car accidents goes up at the start of daylight savings time in the spring. Now, we already know that there's a 24% increase in heart attacks for right after daylight savings time is enacted. We also know that in the fall, there's a 21% decrease in the number of heart attacks around the globe of people who are under the influence of daylight savings time. So that shows us that there is a very important connection to how our bodies and our health is based on the amount of sunlight and the amount of sleep time that we're getting. This is really important to remember, because if you can remember the fact that getting adequate amounts of sleep was very beneficial to normalizing your blood pressure, to normalizing your blood glucose levels, and normalizing the amount of cholesterol in your veins and your weight, then we can look at things in a more holistic way for our best outcomes. And that is why we have to pay attention to hustle society and that hustle culture that says we have to work and work and work 24/7. That is not going to give us the results that we need when it comes to our health and our wellness. It might give you wealth, and there's nothing wrong with wealth, but if you can't enjoy your wealth, then why bring about a situation where you have to use your wealth to now try to regain your health? An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. If that is your story and you want to know more about how to make your sleep better, then comment that below. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And remember, I too have a YouTube channel. It's Have Some. It's spelled HAV for Victor, SOM for Mother. And we'll continue the conversation there, where I'll help you make sure that you can have a legacy of health as well as wealth. I'm Rosemary Have Some. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.